Hey everyone and welcome to Storytime. My name is Jake and today we are going to be looking at the subreddit r/maliciouscompliance, where people conform to the letter but not the spirit of a request. If you're new around here, please do hit subscribe down below so that you never miss out on another video. But for now, let's sit back, relax and enjoy some malicious compliance. Reimburse me or the police will get involved. Okay then, let's get the police involved. So, I work in customer support for a mobile network provider. The way our company works is that after training, you enter a 1-month testing period where you can answer phone calls under close supervision. At the end of the testing period, they either let you go or transfer you to a permanent position on one of the teams. I was a few days away from the end of the testing period when I get one heck of a phone call. I spent more than an hour on that one. It hurt my final score at the end of the month. The customer told a tall tale about how when she was trying to pay her debt to the company, she racked up hundreds of shekels worth of debt in unincluded uses. The sales representative was rude to her and refused to let her pay, so she took a picture of him and left. The reason the call took so long is because she kept telling the story out of order, adding and changing details and going on tangents and rants. It was very difficult to get the story straight. I felt like a detective trying to piece together the clues into what actually happened. Every time I read the story back to her chronologically, she added or changed something in the middle or went on a tangent about how she's a polite British woman and we shouldn't hire people like that representative to represent our company. Eventually, I got her to settle down on a version of what happened. I looked through the records and saw that according to the representative, who was a lot more concise than her, she was the one being rude, yelling at him in English, a language he barely spoke, and taking his picture without his consent. I didn't tell her that, I just politely instructed her on how to pay her debt via the phone. She sounded nervous. I told her that until the debt is paid, I cannot make these changes in the account, including adding a report. So, reluctantly, she gave me her credit card details and the debt was paid in full. I reported on what she told me and moved it along to my superiors. A few days later, my testing period was over, and despite that tragedy of a call, I aced it and got transferred to the illustrious email department, which is what I wanted. It's much more chill here, and I can work at my own pace, not having to rely on the customer or the supervisor to work faster. Also, I could take my breaks whenever I felt like it. Everything is fine for a couple of weeks, until I receive a new email telling a familiar tale. It was an enraged recounting of the same story I heard on the phone, except much more elaborate, with more details I've never heard before, such as the involvement of another person, or that the representative assaulted the customer by trying to impede her exit from the store. The customer complained that she'd been cheated and expected the representative to be fired, but she saw him again at the store and was outraged. She was under the impression that her paying her debt meant we will listen to her and fire the representative. The email ends with the following demands. 1. Fire the representative. 2. Reimburse her for the money that we stole from her under false pretenses. And 3. Apologize to her in the form of extra compensation and a personal phone call from a high-ranking manager. If we did not comply, the police will get involved. So, I complied with the second part, and we got the police involved. You see, while reading the email, I noticed that the address she emailed us from had a different surname than her account or the credit card information she provided. And, lo and behold, the email was actually her real name, while the other details were fake. Turns out, she was indeed a polite British woman. A British woman overstaying her visa for over a year that was now using a fake identity in Israel. How's that for false pretenses? As we discovered later, she was also wanted for numerous accounts of fraud where she didn't pay for services or claimed compensation for stories that later turned out to be false, just like she tried to do with us. We called the police, but they couldn't find her since the physical address she registered on our site was also fake. So, we called her back to the store to apologize personally. She gladly obliged. The police were waiting for her. Neither I nor the representative she implicated were there that day, unfortunately, so we didn't get to see the look on her face. She was fined a hefty amount and then deported back to the UK. That was really funny because at first I thought when she said shekels, she was just like joking around. You know, some people say shekels instead of like dollars or pounds. But then she was like, oh, we live in Israel. I was like, oh, that makes more sense now. Unless you're in the middle of nowhere, you have to work during vacation. Your salary. I work for a small company in the trades as head of the IT department, aka the only IT person. Truthfully, the gig is pretty great. Good pay, benefits, and I can come and go as I please within reason. The two people I have to answer to are the VP and CEO, and as is par for the course, they know nothing about anything to do with technology and generally leave me be as I'm good at my job and everything runs smoothly. Being a small company, a lot of us don't take vacations due to A, building the company, and B, not having replacements for the time we're gone. But after 2 years vacationless, we're in the US, my wife convinces me to use the time I'm given to decompress and take a small 1-week getaway. I talk to VP and he gives me the thumbs up to take the time barring I get everything in order and do some minor teaching to other staff in case of an emergency. Cool. Easy. Enter FOD, the Field Operations Director, a man who is an attack dog for the VP for no reason, as the VP is nothing but polite and reasonable. The Field Operations Director loves giving everyone a hard time, adding steps to tasks to make himself look like he's part of the process, reminding everyone how much of a boss he is to the rest of us in management, and calling me a nerd any chance he gets. Fair to say, I dislike the Field Operations Director immensely. After making my rounds with other staff, it's FOD's time to do some scary computer-related learning. FOD refuses to look weak under any circumstances, and gets very aggressive when learning new things because, I'm the boss, I already know. In the midst of learning, it dawns on him to ask why he has to learn this stuff anyway. I'm the nerd, and it's my job to do this. I clue him in on the week I'm taking off, and this stuff is just precautionary. This worries him as he'll have to retain the information, answer questions, and do some minor troubleshooting. The conversation went something like this, and I wish I could tell you that this guy isn't much of a jerk, but he is. The FOD is the boss, and me is me. Who approved your vacation? VP did, as long as I could get you guys comfortable with some small maintenance. I only approve vacation time. I'm your boss. Side note, he does this so much that VP actually wrote out the hierarchy in chart form, and we all carry a digital copy with us to remind him who he's actually in charge of. You're not. I show him the chart. Well, fine, but you're a salary, so you have to work during your vacation. You'll bring your laptop and work phone with you. When you vacation, you make it very clear you're unreachable and can't be bothered even if it's an emergency. That's because I go to places without service, and unless you're going to the mountains, you have to work. Your salary. Malicious compliance initiated. Just to be clear, if I go to a place without service, I won't be expected to work, yeah? That's right, but you're a nerd. You don't do anything outdoorsy. Great, thanks for clearing that up. Fast forward 3 weeks later, and it's vacation time. All my ducks are in a row. People are comfortable with me being gone for the week, and are all encouraging me to just disconnect. A close coworker of mine knows of the conversation the FOD and I had, and asks what I plan to do about it, so I shared my easy but effective plan. Number 1. Wife and I rented a cabin in the woods, 2 hours from the nearest town, and it doesn't have service. Number 2. Set up automatic email replies that have all IT questions and concerns forwarded to the FOD, since he's the boss, he knows. And 3. Leave work phone on the charger in my office with the ringer on, door locked. So he has to hear it and voicemail change to have FOD become IT for the week. Coworker loves the idea of flooding FOD with questions he can't answer, so much that he gets other coworkers in on it. Midway through the week, I get a call from coworker with an update. The field operations director loses it. He can't keep up with any requests for help and didn't bother to memorize the simple tasks I showed him, so he does what any good boss does and puts in a request to take a vacation until I get back. Retreat is always an option. Nothing screams leader more than retreat. It's not weakness and failure if he's not there. My coworkers were able to manage, and FOD got his 3-day vacation, unfortunately. After the week off, I'm called to VP's office to catch up and get things back on track. VP obviously heard of the hardships FOD faced in my absence, and laughed at my malicious compliance, surprisingly. VP struck a deal with me moving forward, since it was made clear to him no one else knew how to do my job. I can go on vacation wherever I'd like as long as I bring my laptop and phone and check it once a week. They'll refund my vacation time for that day even if I work for only 5 minutes. I took that, but with the caveat of making FOD actually learn some of my duties just in case. VP agreed. Now, I do an hour of teaching a week to a very surly FOD. After all, he's the boss, he's gotta know. That actually ended up really well for him, so now he's got extra vacations, and if he only works 5 minutes a day, he gets the entire day off. That's pretty good. Hey everyone, I hope you all had a really good day and that you enjoyed that video. If you want to check out some other videos, then click on screen right now, or check out the playlist down below. If you enjoyed that video, then please do leave a like, and if you want to submit your own stories, then you can do so by joining the Discord in the top link in the description. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon.